As the FIFA World Cup action begins on Sunday, the 20th of November, focus will be on the teams and their stars, some of them with iconic status. Before that, in this two-part video, we will talk about the puppeteers who play crucial roles behind the scenes to determine a team's fate. Yes, you got it right, I am talking about the managers. In first part, we'll discuss teams from Group A to Group D. It is the ultimate honor for a coach to lead his team out at the World Cup. Along with winning some of the biggest league titles, winning the World Cup or just qualifying for one is a dream come true for many a coach. All coaches dream of experiencing the sensation at some stage, the culmination of years of tactical planning owned at the league level to coming together at the national level. These coaches, some already as big a star as the footballers they manage, will be coming up with their best game plans to chart out wins in their respective groups. This Sports 9 special Know the Managers is a brief introduction of managers of different nations at the World Cup. Here you go with Group A. We start with the Dutch boss Louis van Gaal. The Iron Tulip is in his third spell as Netherlands national team manager. The first one ended in ignominy as the team failed to qualify in the 2002 World Cup. In his second spell, he guided the side to a third place finish in the 2014 World Cup. Now coming into the World Cup, he has a set team which is capable of winning the title. The 2022-23 UEFA Nations League group stage record of 5 wins and 1 draw in 6 matches, which helped them in qualifying for the semis, suggests that they are one of the best teams in Europe at the moment. They also handed a 4-1 defeat to their neighbours Belgium in the group. With 20 major honours with Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Manchester United and Ajax, he is one of the top-notch managers at the World Cup. Moving on to second team in Group A, Senegal. Senegal's Aliou Cissé. Senegal is headed by Cissé, the former Senegalese player who helped them lift the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations title. The team has grown massively under his tutelage. He couldn't win the AFCON in 2002 as a player, but finally achieved the feat as a manager in 2021. He could be the driving force at the World Cup with the likes of Mane, Mendy and Koulibaly in his ranks. Now about the host nation, Felix Sanchez Bas for Qatar. The Spanish manager would be managing the host Qatar, who are making their first appearance at the World Cup. The inaugural game against Ecuador on November 20, 2022 would be his 70th game in charge. Qatar has changed 6 coaches in the last 8 years. Therefore, the Spaniard has come a long way, shown massive improvement and would be eyeing to top the Group A come at the time. Ecuador's Gustavo Alfaro next. Gustavo Alfaro showed faith in the team since joining them in August 2020. He inculcated belief in the fans and players that they could make it to the World Cup. The former Boca Juniors manager was successful in living up to his word. However, he said in his first news conference that the national team has more of a future than the present. Let's see what the current team can offer at the World Cup. Over to Group B. England manager Gareth Southgate first. After leading the Three Lions to the finals of Euro 2020 and semi-finals of the 2018 World Cup, this is Gareth Southgate's third tournament in charge. The team has not won the last 6 matches, all of the UEFA Nations League group stage matches, and have struggled to find form in recent times. Southgate has plethora of outstanding players who could help him in ending England's 5.5-year title drought at the World Cup. But he would need to make the right managerial decisions to take the team to the final stages of the campaign. Can the English manager bring it home this time? England has its hopes on him. Next man on our list is Rob Page, the Welsh manager. The Welsh manager deserves the credit for taking his national side to the World Cup for the first time since 1958. After Ryan Giggs, he took charge of the national team. Not only assisted them in getting promotion in the UEFA Nations League, but also took them to the last 16 of Euro 2020. He injected confidence in the up-and-coming players of the nation, which eventually allowed them in getting to Qatar. Gareth Bale, who would be playing his first and last World Cup, would be at the forefront of his plans. Carlos Queiroz will be in charge for Iran, who are to have him as their head coach. The Portuguese has served as a manager for South Africa, UAE, Iran, Colombia, Egypt and his native Portugal in the past. This would be his 5th World Cup, having been in charge of South Africa in 2002, Portugal in 2010, Iran in 2014 and 18. The former Man United assistant manager is taking Iran to their 3rd consecutive World Cup. Greg Berhalter and the USA. After managing Hammarby IF and Columbus Crew, Greg Berhalter would be heading to his 1st ever World Cup as a coach. He has achieved some groundbreaking results with the national team. The New Jersey-born coached the side at the 2021 CONCACAF Gold Cup, assisting them in bagging their 7th Gold Cup after booking a narrow 1-0 win against Mexico. He beat Mexico yet again in the qualifying stages of the World Cup in Ohio. Let's move on to Group C, where we begin with Lionel Scaloni of Argentina. If Argentina break at least 37-match unbeaten record, the credit goes to Lionel Scaloni for the team's exceptional run. With 35 matches being unbeaten, Argentina are one of the favourites to win the 2022 Qatar World Cup. One of the greatest players of the game, Lionel Messi, will probably be playing his last World Cup. Scaloni would want the former Barcelona striker to end his World Cup career with a trophy. After lifting the 2021 Copa America title, the team's spirits would be high going into the World Cup. Next up, Mexican manager Gerardo Martino. The former Barcelona manager guided Argentina to the final of the 2015 Copa America, where they lost to host Chile in the penalties. At the Spanish club, he ended as a La Liga runner-up in the 2013-14 season. After joining Mexico in 2009, he won the CONCACAF Gold Cup with them by defeating USA 1-0 in the final. But he comes into the World Cup after losing the 2021 CONCACAF Nations League final and the 2021 CONCACAF Gold Cup. Czesło of Poland up next. The Polish football manager got in charge of the national team on January 31, 2022. His contract goes up to the end of the year with an option to extend. In Group I of the World Cup qualifiers, the manager lost only twice, registering 6 wins and 2 draws in the 10 matches that he managed. The prolific striker Lewandowski has been his main man throughout the qualifying stages. He would be relying on the Barcelona striker for the Group C bonanza as well. At number 4 in Group C comes Hervé Renard of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has got a gem in Renard. He has an impressive record of winning 2 Africa Cup of Nations with 2 different African nations, with Zambia in 2012 and with Ivory Coast in 2015. After taking charge of Saudi Arabia in 2019, he became the first foreign-born manager in the history of the nation to book 18 wins. He has a lot of experience on the big stage and could make a difference for the Arabian side. Group D, where we begin with France, Didier Deschamps. The French man became the 3rd manager in the history of the game to win the World Cup as a manager and as a player. After his heroics at the 2018 Russia World Cup, he needs no introduction. He would be entering the 2022 Qatar World Cup with expectations of the French fans to defend the title. But with Pogba and Kanté out of the squad due to injury, who were his guiding force in the prevailing World Cup, it remains to be seen if he can once again replicate the successful run. France has some of the world's best players in Mbappe, Benzema and Griezmann, who still have the skill to lift the coveted trophy yet again. Up next, Kasper Hjulmand for Denmark. Kasper Hjulmand stunned the European world when Denmark reached the semi-finals of Euro 2020 under his mentorship after losing to Finland 0-1 in the inaugural match. They even lost their key player Christian Eriksen in the initial games due to his cardiac arrest, but they held their heads high and reached the semis only to lose to finalist England 1-2 due to a controversial penalty. They have another chance at the World Cup. This time the star player Eriksen would be helping them in their pursuit. We move on to Australia now, who have Graham Arnold as in charge. The Australian board has relied on one of the most renowned managers in the A-League to take charge of the national team. The former Sydney FC manager started managing the national team in 2018. This is his 2nd stint with the Socceroos after his rather lackluster run in 2006. However, his team has shown promise before the World Cup in the qualifiers after booking 2 crucial wins against Peru and UAE. His experience could assist the team massively in their pursuit of topping the group stages. The last man in this episode is Jalal Qadri, the Tunisian manager. The African coach delivered when the team needed it the most. The former Tunisian national team coach Mondhar got COVID-19 during the 2021 AFCON. The team was supposed to play the round of 16 match. Qadri stepped up and aided his side in reaching the quarters but lost to Burkina Faso in the quarters. Nonetheless, his team showed resilience in the World Cup qualifiers, winning 4 of their 6 matches, which allowed them to book a spot in Qatar. That's all in this episode. In the second part of our Know the Managers, we will talk about the managers of the teams which are placed in Group E to Group H. We'll come up with various exclusives, behind the scenes, reviews, previews and a lot more during the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. For timely updates, do subscribe to Sports 9 on News 9 Sports. Don't forget to press the bell icon. This is Hardik Agrawal signing off.